Welcome to FI Spotlight. I'm your host, Brittany Borer. This week just so happens to be National School Lunch Week. Now, school lunch could bring back memories of mystery meat and mushy green beans, but school lunches look a lot different now than they used to. A recent Talker survey found out that 43% of parents agree that today's school lunches are healthier than theirs ever were, while over a quarter said that there is more variety. But have things really changed for the better when it comes to school food service? That is what we are going to dig into today on this episode. I'd like to bring in my guest, Diane Pratt Hevner. She is the Director of Media Relations at the School Nutrition Association. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, Diane, how would you characterize the evolution of K through 12 school lunches over the past several decades to today?
Oh, it's just been a tremendous change. School meals, as you implied, really are nothing like the meals that we were served when we were in school. And I always encourage parents and anyone working in the food industry to go visit their child's school cafeteria and have a meal because it really is so very different. And so much of the change was driven by the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010, which required the US Department of Agriculture to not only update standards for snacks and anything sold a la carte, but to overhaul nutrition standards for school breakfasts and lunch. And so today, when you go into the cafeteria, you're going to see a rainbow of colors because schools were required to dramatically increase the amount of produce that they're offering kids and increase the variety of vegetables. They have to offer red and orange vegetables, dark leafy greens, and legumes every week. They're offering whole grains and meeting sodium, calorie, and fat limits. As a result of all these changes, new research from Tufts University shows that schools are the healthiest places that Americans are eating today. And school meals are far healthier than the meals being served out in restaurants and even, at home.
What do you think is the key to improving school lunches, or is there even any room to improve given the budgeting and logistical challenges?
Oh, it's absolutely always possible to improve. School meals have improved so much already, and there are more changes ahead. USDA issued final regulations this spring that will require schools to make additional reductions in sodium and implement brand new limits on added sugar. That'll start in 2025 as schools have to serve lower sugar cereals, flavored milk, and yogurt options. And in 2027, they'll have to meet limits on added sugar in meals, both breakfast and lunch as a whole throughout the week. So we're going to be seeing schools do more scratch cooking. They've already, implemented a lot of scratch cooking in recent years, but they'll also really need to work with industry, food companies. We're looking to them to bring some new products to the market that have less sugar and sodium and don't swap out sugar for artificial ingredients, which a lot of our school nutrition professionals have concerns about. Schools are really looking to work together with food companies. We encourage them to understand some of the constraints of the K-12 market, the cost concerns, and the complicated standards. A lot of the companies that work both in K-12 and the broader commercial retail market do realize that their K-12 segment might be a little less profitable, but is so mission-driven and important. I think everyone working in school nutrition sees how important it is to be contributing to making sure America's students are nourished to succeed.
What about taste? Kids can be some of the toughest food critics out there, and those schools follow guidelines for standards of nutrition. Taste can sometimes get sacrificed along the way. So, is there a way to maintain that taste and texture for kids? And could you share some success stories with us?
Yeah, it's so funny because kids, any parent knows that kids are really finicky and hard to please. And we certainly saw a lot of challenges early on when the first nutrition standards took effect back in 2012, 2014, particularly with the mandate that schools require kids to take a fruit or a vegetable with every meal. There have been so many ways that schools have nudged kids to eat healthier options, particularly eat those fruits and vegetables. All over the country, we have seen schools implementing farm to school programs, school gardens, implementing Harvest of the Month and other nutrition education initiatives, really trying to introduce kids to unfamiliar foods in a less intimidating way, trying to give them a small free sample before they walk into the line. If they try that featured sweet potato recipe free bite first, they might be more willing to take that item when they walk through the lunch line. And we're seeing a lot of, schools partner with food companies on this as well, taste testing new entree options in the cafeteria with students, really getting their feedback on, what entree options they like, what they want to see more of. And by giving kids lots of choices, we can identify entrees that meet standards and also appeal to those finicky taste buds. We've really seen, particularly since the end of the pandemic, now that supply chain challenges have eased, schools are focused on giving kids more choices. We're seeing more culturally relevant menu options, more plant-based menu options, really trying to appeal to students' both dietary requirements, but also their preferences.
According to School Nutrition Association stats, 99% of school meal program directors nationwide reported challenges with increasing costs, and 91% of programs flagged concerns about the financial stability of their programs due to the insufficiency of the current federal reimbursement rate. So, how can those schools supply nutritious meals when they're running on such tight margins?
Yeah, it is incredibly challenging for school nutrition programs. The budget is very tight and they rely on limited federal reimbursements to fund their programs. During the pandemic, Congress saw the wisdom of providing additional funds to school meal programs to help cover those higher costs. Well, that funding has gone away, and as we've seen, food inflation, labor issues have eased somewhat, but costs remain very high, and a lot of schools are struggling with that, which is why School Nutrition Association is advocating for Congress to permanently increase federal reimbursement rates, provide more funding to schools to help them meet these upcoming nutrition standards, and continue to offer the variety of fresh produce that our students want and deserve. We have seen a lot of creativity and effort by school nutrition programs, though, to control costs and help manage those high costs, particularly during the pandemic when certain food items were in short supply and they were having trouble getting all of the options they used to. Schools really focused on streamlining their inventory, which reduces costs. And we saw this even this summer at our annual conference. We have a food show. The school nutrition directors were really talking to vendors about, hey, I'm looking for ingredients that can be menued in a variety of ways. I want to be able to buy one grilled chicken strip that can be menued in an entree salad, but also a sandwich, and also, mixed with a sauce for a curry dish, for instance. We've also seen schools partner with their distributors to find ways to bring costs down for both by looking at alternative delivery times, nighttime drops. They're partnering with neighboring school districts in purchasing, and by, purchasing larger volumes, bringing the cost down, sharing warehouse space. And then, we also saw during the pandemic, schools really kind of thought outside of the box about vendors, really looking to companies that might never have reached out to supply their programs, local restaurants and businesses providing entrees to the cafeteria that met nutrition standards. So they're really, really working in innovative ways to try and manage those high costs.
In our coverage of the food and beverage industry at large, we have noticed two high-level trends, which would be the diversification of flavors and technology integration, including integrating AI. So would you say that those trends are translating over into schools when it comes to school lunch production?
Absolutely. I would just say, in general, the K-12 market really tries to mirror trends in the broader commercial and retail market. And when it comes to menuing, they really have to, because particularly at the high school level, these kids who go out to eat after school, they want to find those same interesting menu options that they get when they go out to eat in their school cafeteria. So we're seeing schools experiment with more global flavors. Kids want to eat, their entree just how they like it. So we're seeing a lot of customizable menu options. So those are definitely big trends in our industry as well. And AI was actually a big focus in our recent conference. We had several education sessions on that topic. It's on the cover of our magazine this month, because a lot of school nutrition programs are using AI not only to help with their communication with parents. There are newsletters and emails out to families about what they're doing in their programs. They're also turning to AI for recipe ideas. When they have excess inventory, what are some creative ways that they can utilize that product? So it's exciting times ahead.
Diane Pratt Hevner, Director of Media Relations for the School Nutrition Association. Thank you so much for your insights today, and happy National School Lunch Week.
Thank you.
And as always, you can check out more of our great content by clicking on this playlist. Until next time, I'm Brittany Borer with the Food Institute.